All right, so exact same thing as yesterday as far as graphing goes, okay? Except for today, all we're going to do is we're going to add one more thing to it, okay? And it is called the roots of our graph. Okay? Now, sometimes you see it called roots. Sometimes you see it called solutions. Sometimes you see it called the x-intercepts. You need to know that it could be called any of those three things, and it all means the same thing. Okay? And all it is the point or points where the graph, and what's that graph called again? Parabola, yep. Okay, where the graph crosses the x-axis. All right, so sometimes it might have two solutions, okay, because a lot of times we see our parabola cross the x-axis twice, right? Okay, so in this case, we would have a solution here, and we would have a solution here. So that right there, we would have 2 points. When our vertex is on the x-axis, okay, so if I have a parabola that looks just like this, okay, that's just one solution because the only point that's on where it crosses the x-axis is that vertex. Okay, and then sometimes if we move our parabola up or down, does that cross the x-axis? No, so then it's going to be no solution. Okay, if it doesn't cross the x-axis at all, then it doesn't have a solution. Right? Okay, so, numero uno. Does this guy open up or down? Opens up. So if he opens up, does he have a max or a min? Has a min. All right, so A equals what? 1. B is 4, and C is -5. How am I going to find my axis of symmetry? What do I start with? X equals opposite of B, so what's the opposite of my B? -4 over 2 times A. So X equals -2. Now, some of us, when it asked for the line of symmetry, just put -2. Okay, make sure that it is X equals -2. Okay, include that X equals in there. Got it? Okay. So then I need my vertex, right? And what do I know about my vertex so far? X is -2. Okay, not the whole vertex isn't -2, but X is -2. How am I going to find Y? Plug it in. All right, so let's talk a little bit about plugging it in, because some of us aren't writing down anything when we're plugging it in, and it's really causing us to have some issues as far as organization and figuring out what I'm looking for, right? Okay, and I'm not saying you have to write out the whole thing, but it would be super helpful for you to write out what you're coming up with. Okay, and so the blah, blah, blah. Okay, the amount that I write down, okay, is I'm looking at this and I'm going, okay, so I'm plugging this in for X, right? So -2 squared is 4 plus, what's 2 times negative, or 4 times -2? -8, and then -5. I like to have this written out so that I can know, so I know what I'm plugging into my calculator, because otherwise I'm like, I sometimes forget what number I'm plugging into my calculator. Okay, so what do I get when I take 4 plus negative 8 minus 5? Negative 9? All right, so my vertex is negative 2, negative 9. Where does he go? In the middle. So negative 2, negative 9, in the middle. Okay, so two numbers smaller than negative 2? Negative 3 and negative 4. Two numbers bigger? Negative 1 and 0. All right, so now we've got to do what? Plug it in, plug it in. Okay, and again, I like to write it out. So negative 4 squared gives me 16 plus 4 times negative 4? Negative 16 minus 5? Negative 5. Okay, now what do I have to plug in? Negative 3. So negative 3 squared? 9 plus 4 times negative 3? Negative 12 minus 5? Negative 8? Okay, what should this be? Negative 8. What should this be? Negative 5. All right. So I have negative 4, negative 5, negative 3, negative 8, negative 2, negative 9, negative 1, negative 8, 0, 5. All right, so if I'm looking at this, do I have it where it crosses the x-axis yet? I don't yet, so let's go one more. Let's put negative 5 up here. Negative 5 squared? 25 plus negative 20 minus 5? 0. So what's this going to be? 0, but what number is this going to be? 1. All right, so negative 5, 0, and 1, 0 can get added to that. Remember, it's a U, not a V. All right, and so then on today's assignment, there's going to be a line for you where it says solutions. Where are mine? On your notes page, there's a spot for solutions? Oh, yeah, over on the left side, isn't there? Okay, so what are my solutions? Nah. Time out. What, okay, there are two solutions. You are correct. Okay, so you're right. There are two solutions, but what are my solutions? Negative 5, 0, because I'm looking for points. So negative 5, 0 is the one point where it crosses the x-axis. What's my other point where it crosses the x-axis? 1, 0. So your solutions are written as points. Okay? Anytime you write down points, they have to be in what? Parentheses. Yeah. Some of us aren't putting our solutions in parentheses. Some of us aren't putting our vertex in parentheses. Okay? Anytime that you're writing down a point, it's got to be in parentheses. Okay? One more? Yeah. We're going to do number 2. Okay, opens up or down? Opens up. Max or min? Minimum. What's A equal? 1. B equals? And C equals? 1. Okay, so if I'm going to find my axis of symmetry, x equals 2 divided by 2 gives me x equals 1. So vertex is 1, comma. Now I have to do what? Plug it in. So 1 squared is 1 minus 2 times 1? Minus 2 plus 1 gives me 0. So my vertex is 1, 0. Goes in the middle. 2 numbers smaller. 0, negative 1. 2 numbers bigger. 2 and 1. Oh, just kidding. 2 and what? 3. All right, so negative 1 squared? 1 minus negative 2, because 2 times negative 1 gives me negative 2, right? So this is going to turn into a plus. And then plus 1? 4. 0 squared? Minus 2 times 0? Plus 1? 1. So what's going to go here? What's going to go here? 4. So I have negative 1, 4, 0, 1, 1, 0, 2, 1, and 3, 4. Wow, struggle bus. Let's try that again. 0, 1, 1, 0, 2, 1, 3, 4. Do I have a spot where it crosses the x-axis? Yes. How many? 1. So solution is what? The point 1, 0. Same as my vertex this time. Yes? Yeah, because you still have to graph it. That's still part of the problem. Yep, so you still have to do everything else. Okay?